Hello everyone and welcome back to Crypto Atlas. In today's video, we will be discussing Bitcoin, Ethereum, Civic, as well as Orchid, OXT. And we just now moved into the new daily candle position. It is now 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So we did have 4 days of closure of red for Bitcoin. You can actually see the 21 EMA is beginning to flatline out just a little bit here. So it actually is making it slightly more difficult to be able to cross over for a bear market, although signs are suggesting of a potential further continuation and sell-off as we have dropped down below some key levels of support, which we'll discuss here in just a little bit. I was doing some jumping jacks just a minute ago here, so if I sound a little bit out of breath, then that's why, just so you guys know. But if you guys are new to the channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, hit that thumbs up button. Let's try to get to 100 likes on this video, just like every crypto video that we do here. Every single like helps. Every single like definitely means a lot to me, and I really appreciate all of you guys being here. Also, if you can, click that bell icon so you can stay up to date with all the latest crypto news and technical analysis. So we're actually going to go into the news first, and then we'll do the technical analysis. First up, what publicly traded companies have Bitcoin on their balance sheets? We're not going to go ahead and discuss the why behind these, but some of the names you guys have heard of and some of them you maybe haven't. So I wanted to go ahead and highlight these for you. So first up, we have MicroStrategy, Square, Galaxy Digital Holdings, Hut 8 Mining, Voyager Digital. So just a quick little covering of some of these different institutions that they have highlighted. Like, for example, I didn't know about Hut 8 Mining or Voyager Digital. I believe I had briefly heard about Galaxy Digital Holdings in the past. For sure, I've heard of Square using or holding Bitcoin as well as MicroStrategy. Bitcoin whales keep accumulating they did keep accumulating during the Monday's crash. The number of Bitcoin whale entities, clusters of crypto wallet addresses held by a single network participant holding at least 1,000 Bitcoin rose slightly to a new record high of 2,140 on Monday. The increase came even as the cryptocurrency's price collapsed by more than 20% to hit a low of $30,305. The violent sell-off was fueled by heavy selling in the spot market and was accompanied by record trading volumes, which we're going to be discussing more of that here in just a minute. Traders are complaining about the exchange issues and downtime during Bitcoin's volatile price swings. As Bitcoin and a number of digital assets saw deep losses on Monday, a few crypto asset exchanges had difficulties. Traders have been complaining about issues with exchanges like Coinbase, Kraken, and other trading platforms during the volatile price swings. So are we really not that surprised that Coinbase had another issue again? I think the biggest thing that I'm surprised with is that so many people are still proactively using Coinbase. I still technically use Coinbase as well. But the fact that they're getting ready to go do an IPO and they have the worst stability issues as far as like being able to go on and to sell your crypto, to buy crypto whenever there's any major action, it's insane. Like, it's so poorly developed and they've had years to do this. And why they still haven't gotten this right yet is absolutely beyond me. And the fact that they're getting ready to release it as a stock company is just... if it continues to happen for so long, man, like, I can only imagine what would happen to their stock every time the website goes down. Coinbase is $350 lower than other exchanges right now. It's throwing off derivative indexes and likely impacting trade algorithms. Over on Binance, you can actually see CZ state all-time high system traffic again. Systems holding up so far, not perfect, slightly higher latency in some regions. So there still worked, it was just having some issues, just a little bit. As far as Wu's opinions go, when he said that the price discrepancies would throw off trading algorithms, a few crypto proponents said that the industry would do better with Oracle-based price feeds and that exchanges like Coinbase should consider adding protocols like Chainlink. And so this could actually be some very nice bullish news for Chainlink if these exchanges do decide to go in and use something like that, or specifically that. Lost passwords lock millionaires out of their Bitcoin fortunes. Well, look at this poor guy. Not me, by the way. I'm Stephen Thomas. This is Stefan Thomas. I don't even know if we're related. Stefan Thomas, a German-born programmer living in San Francisco, has 2 guesses left to figure out a password that is worth, as of this week, about $220 million. Of the existing 18.5 million Bitcoin, around 20%, currently worth around $140 billion, appears to be in lost or otherwise stranded wallets, according to the cryptocurrency data firm Chainalysis. Wallet Recovery Services, a business that helps find lost digital keys, said it had gotten 70 requests a day from people who wanted help recovering their riches, 3 times the number of a month ago. Through the years, I would say I've spent hundreds of hours trying to get back into these wallets, said Brad Yeager, an entrepreneur in Los Angeles who has a few desktop computers that contain thousands of Bitcoin he created or mined during the early days of the technology. While those Bitcoin are now worth hundreds of millions of dollars, he lost his password many years ago and has put the hard drives containing them in vacuum-sealed bags out of sight. I don't want to be reminded every day that I have now. It's a fraction of what I could have, that I lost. That's pretty sad. Continuing on with that, just a little bit more details. Bitcoin's decentralized nature has been one of its biggest selling points, but imperfect storage methods have made millions of the tokens inaccessible. As we stated, about 20% of the 18.5 million Bitcoins in existence, excuse me, worth about $140 billion, is estimated to be lost or stuck in locked off digital wallets, the New York Times reported on Tuesday. For now, those coins are effectively trapped behind incredibly complex encryption and forgotten passwords. Solutions can still come from cryptocurrency reform. Jimmy Nguyen, president of the Bitcoin Association, told Business Insider emergency mechanisms that can recover Bitcoin in the event of forgotten wallet passwords or estate transfers can make it a more open and user-friendly cryptocurrency, Nguyen said. Sign up, and then just their little regular disclaimer. Continuing on, Goldman Sachs, they're saying, I think the market is beginning to become more mature. Curry told CNBC's Steve Sedgwick in an interview Monday, I think in any nascent market, you get that volatility and those risks that are associated with it. The key to creating some type of stability in the market is to see an increase in the participation of institutional investors, and right now they're small, he said, adding that of the more than $600 billion invested in Bitcoin right now, roughly 1% of it is institutional money. Bitcoin options volume on Deribit is already 25% of the 2020 total. $14.5 billion in Bitcoin options have traded on Deribit in the first 2 weeks of 2021. So we're talking about a lot of activity going on in just a short period of time. In 2020, all Bitcoin options trading on Deribit totaled just less than $57 billion. Contributing to its wild growth in the past month, the Panama-based exchange now offers traders sky-high bets on Bitcoin reaching $100,000, $200,000, or even $300,000 by December. So absolutely astronomical levels. What do you guys think? Do you guys think 100,000 is still possible by the end of this year? 200,000? That's really pushing it. And the fact that they even give you an option for $300,000, do you guys think that we could hit $300,000 by the end of 2021? Let me know in the comments down below, and let me know why you feel that way. Now we can go ahead over to the charts. And once again, if you guys are new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up like button. Join our community, guys. Let's see if we can get to 100 likes on this video, and also click the bell icon so you can stay up to date with everything. Looking at Bitcoin, we have 4 days of closure in the red, and from that big previous day candle, that had dropped down 21%, but looking at it as of yesterday, you can actually see that from there, by comparison, that was an 11%, almost, about 11.5% drop. Still pretty substantial, but it had its recovery come back up. So technically from the day open to day closure, we saw a difference of only a 4%. Still quite noticeable given the high price position that Bitcoin is currently at. And with us being 9 minutes into the new daily formation, you can also see that we have a fairly decent drop here too, from $34,065 all the way down into the $33,000 range once again. Yesterday's position, I've been talking about the 21 EMA and how substantiated it's been for a lot of cryptocurrencies, and as you guys can see, guess what? Proved it right here too. Had that nice little bounce off, just almost touching it actually stopped at 32,461, but the bottom would have been around $32,300. So very, very close in comparison. And you also can see that if we extend this out, that was looking at the next major level of potential support right there, which would be at $32,000. I would still be looking at $32,000 as a potential bounce. But right now that 21 EMA is slightly higher at $32,451. We could still potentially see that drop down. And then we also saw another psychological element that took place right around the $30,000 mark. Let's go ahead and get that raised up right about there. $30,000. If it drops below that, then we could be in a bit more of a hurt, as more than likely this would have a continuation drop pushing all the way back down to primarily right around $25,000 at first from a psychological standpoint, and then we see a little bit of consolidation taking place right around $22,000, $23,000 with these candles, and even a further drop down would actually pull us below the 20K mark, which would be a very big hurt. That'd be over 50% correction from the year. But we have these kind of moments occur with Bitcoin. Would it really be that surprising? Not really. The only thing that's kind of shocking is that we have so much more opportunity for people to be able to buy Bitcoin now, and more people kind of adopting it and adapting to it. So for it to drop 50% at this point in time of the year, it would shock me a little bit. I still think that we could potentially pull back some more, but to go a full 50% back sub 20K, that's really pulling at straws right there for that. So let's go ahead and look on the other side, the flip side. If this decides it wants to go back up, we need to get above this first level of resistance that is at currently $34,782. Then we get up to the next level at $37,611. And then we're looking to break the previous all-time high at 42K. And on the daily, if it was have some insanely super crazy bullish move, which, you know, over 10K gained in a single day, we haven't ever seen that. But let's just say hypothetically it did it today for some reason, we would be looking at 44,682 as a major level of resistance on this top uptrend. And if it was to have that massive kind of gain, I would expect there to be a massive sell-off pullback right away, because that would be an extremely overbought type situation and people would be looking to take profits for sure. The only thing that would be considerable with this is that we're now getting closer to the range of 50,000, but even then we'd still need to pass above 45,000 to have the most strongest signs of saying that we're on that now pathway of being closer to 50K than being closer to 40K. Right now, we're actually closer to 30K than we are to 40K, right? So we still got to get back above 35K first and foremost. Now, let's go look at Ethereum. Looking at Ethereum, 1, 2, 3 days of closure. Fourth day, we're still a little bit in the red. It could potentially drop down sub $1,000, $972. I would be looking at $1,000 first. Again, another key psychological position. So $1,000 drop down, then a further drop down to $970. Further drop down, we could see it hit 800. And actually, I'd be looking right about here. We can actually see there's a little bit of a relationship going on between, we have 2 points of reference right here, and that's at $909. And then another drop down to $830, and then a further continuation potential. But we're talking about lots of different levels here, and that's a pretty substantial drop from where it is currently. Let's get above $1,137, and then above $1,283, above $1,353, and then break the all-time high at $1,420. And then that gives us a whole other realm of new opportunities, a new price discovery zone, right? Which we haven't had yet. The last time we had that was back in the 2017, 2018 period. So Ethereum being number 2 still hasn't broken its previous record, which to a lot of people is very surprising. Next up, we're going to take a look at, we were talking about it was Civic, right? Yeah, Civic, CVC USD. And looking at what's going on with them. So they had a nice pump going back on January 7th. Unfortunately, it then began to drop the following day, continued to drop. Now 4 days of continuation, nearly pulling back. At one point, it actually did drop all the way below all of those gains that took place, but then it had a pullback and came back up a little bit. So it dropped down to at one point at 9 cents, 0.094. and then came all the way back up to around 12 cents, 0.123. Next day followed up with a nice little green candle, potential red sell-off. We do show signs of some fighting going on here, as about 50% of the previous day's candle had actually been sold off from that top position, which coincides with the top back on January 7th. We had one wick that was above that on the January 8th, but it seems like a major level of resistance right now is at 21 cents. So if it manages to break that, then you have more opportunity for growth for sure, but just be cautious. There was one wick position that briefly gone above that and then retraced back down. So I would say the strongest signs at the moment is going to be at that key level. Kind of zooming back on everything here with Coinbase, we're not really seeing anything else in reference to that. So Civic at 21 cents. Keep your eyes open for that. As of right now, we have a more short-term level of resistance taking place right here. Again, ideally having 3 points of references, so we actually can see that if I drag this through, we got 3 here, this one just slightly going above. So this is a nice, pretty good relationship, 17 cents. Break above that first, then it go above the 21 cents, and then we could actually try and break this previous position high of 23 cents. If it decides it wants to drop back down, right on line with the 21 EMA is where that daily candle had started its position back on the January 12th candle. So that's at 12 cents, 0.1236. Looking at this on a 1 hourly time frame, there was quite a substantial amount of volume that took place back here. And as you can see, that had bounced right off of that top level, the 21 cent level, before it had a retracement back and essentially had started its position right at the 17 cent range and then closed out just slightly below, came back up, and everything's coinciding right along on the 1 hourly between that position and what looks like more or less the 21 EMA, but this 21 EMA is slightly a skewed position as it's a different relationship from what we see when we look at it on the daily position. I don't know what I was just about to say. That was some weird words. The RSI down below is also suggesting that it is just slightly going towards being overbought, but it's not in that territory yet. So there's still room for growth, but this could actually pull itself back down to around the 50 level median zone. And by doing so, that's actually going to pull it closer also to this 21 EMA. So I'd be a little bit cautious with something like that. There was a good amount of volume in comparison to the previous 3 days that we saw right here of its gains. So there's that chance also we could see some slowdown activity. We're now in a Tuesday position. And a lot of times these kind of work in cycles. I've been seeing things move heavily on a Monday position as people come back over the weekend. Your CME gaps and all that kind of stuff that's being worked out. People will go on Wall Street back into work. Wednesday, you might see a little bit more activity. Friday for the weekly closures on what people are wondering what's going to be going on with that as well. So, you know, anything can happen. You do have irregularities. It's not like it's a set schedule with all this stuff. But if this much and price has already dropped on such a tiny amount of volume, I would be a little bit cautious with something like this for today. So this has potential to have a further drop down. Right now it's showing bearish signs. A very large candle from the previous day. It could be overbought, and so far it is indicating that that's the case. But if it can manage to break above 17 cents, then it's above the previous day's candle position as well, and we could very well see it try and retest these levels as it works its way back and trying to break its previous all-time high. So right now looking more bearish though. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at what's going on with Orchid. Looking at Orchid Orchid has 3 days of red closures, 4th day position so far. It is now 2 days of closure below the 21 EMA. 3rd day is still currently down. So if it closes out a 3rd day, then it signifies that the previous bull run is now essentially invalidated. And this is more or less indicating a continuation of a bear trend, which we had a long trend history of being bear market. And then a nice, well, not nice, we had a very short bull run, 1, 2, 3 days right there, red closure, and then a 4th day of green above that position that finally went up high. But then the 5th day afterwards, it decided to retrace back as we saw Bitcoin and everything else starting to tank. So just when it looked like everything was starting to look good, well, guess what? Now it's back in the red zone. You can also see, though, that the volume has been steadily decreasing, although in comparison to these previous points, it has a higher point position on the volume itself. It is, however, still decreasing overall based on the previous high back on January 6th. So the question is going to be, when is the next day of significant volume going to have an increased position? And that could be today. We could see it within the next several days. We're seeing consecutive days here, 1, 2, 3, 4 positions of very low levels of volume before it starts to reverse its direction. And if anything, that's one of the key things we're trying to look for, is an increase in volume in comparison. So having 1, 2, 3, 4 days of continuous down movement, or well, 3 from the high, sorry about that. We could see a couple more days potentially take place. I believe in the past when I covered this, the most that I ever saw was like a 4 or 5 day pattern. I don't have that directly in front of me right now, but yeah, so where that level of volume could place, I would suggest more than likely going to go up, but we've been seeing a lot of restrictions on this, and when it does drop down, it seems to test right down near the bottom levels of 20 cents, and sometimes potentially even dipping just slightly below, as we saw back here around the November period, right in the 19 cents. But 19 cents seems to be the strongest stable bottom. Slightly above that, we got the 21 cents. Right now, we should be more concerned about what's going to happen if it's going to go below 24 cents at 0.2385. If it goes up above 21 EMA, that's 25 cents, 0.2587. It's showing more signs of bullishness. And then a further breakout above 32 cents at 0.3237. And then we could go into the previous Fibonacci levels, like the 0.5 level right here, which would be absolutely amazing. It's in 30 cent range, 33 cent range, almost a third, actually a little bit over 1/3 of the way back to the $1 previous all-time high. So now you're breaking into a whole bunch of other atmospheres with this kind of a thing. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the video there. If you guys are new to the channel, once again, don't forget to hit subscribe, hit the thumbs up, like button. Let's try to get to 100 likes on this video. Also, if you can, click that bell icon so you stay up to date with all the latest news and information. If you guys want to check me out on Twitter, I am at AtlasOfficialTV on Twitter, at AtlasOfficialTV on Twitter. Drop a comment. Let me know what you guys thought about everything here today. If there's anything that I missed that you think is important, news, stuff talking about the crypto projects you've been looking at, all that good stuff. Thank you guys, and I will see you in the next episode.